Have you ever felt like there's a deeper understanding of yourself just waiting to be unlocked?
Like something that could really help you navigate your relationships, your career.
Yeah, like even just day-to-day life, you know?
Almost like a secret map to making choices that genuinely fit who you are.
Exactly. It's like figuring out your own personal instruction manual.
Mhm.
And that's what we're diving into today.
We're going to be exploring the RutherfordINTEL.io personality assessment app.
And this isn't just one of those quick online quizzes you see everywhere, right? This is a bit different.
This is a sophisticated tool. It uses advanced analytics to help you understand not just what you're good at, but also those areas where you might want to focus your energy for further development.
So it's about getting a really clear picture of your strengths and also those blind spots we all have. And maybe even how your actions affect the people around you, both at work and in your personal life.
And that's what self-awareness is really all about, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like understanding your own operating system.
And speaking of operating systems, the organization behind this app, Rutherford International, they have a powerful mission statement.
They do. It's to foster a world of mutually supportive professionals where possibilities are endless and every individual is empowered.
And how can you effectively collaborate or pursue meaningful opportunities if you don't have that solid understanding of yourself?
That's such a good point. It all connects back to you. And so in this deep dive, we really want to unpack how understanding yourself can lead to a more fulfilling life, enrich your relationships, and steer you toward greater satisfaction in your career.
And a key aspect to consider is the power of community, which is a big part of the Rutherford Intel approach.
It is. And Forbes Rutherford, the app's founder, he has over 30 years of experience in executive search.
And a core belief for him is this idea of interconnectedness.
Right, that we're all connected in some way. And, you know, the Rutherford Intel app, it's not just about individual self-discovery. It's designed to cultivate a community around that understanding.
It's about bringing together professionals who are empowered through self-awareness so they can support each other, learn from each other's experiences, and ultimately drive mutual growth.
And it's not just about individual growth. It's a network effect that could potentially reshape industries.
So think of taking the assessment as your entry point into this community. You get a clearer perspective of your own personality profile, and then you can connect with other people who share similar characteristics or offer complementary strengths, you know?
I love that idea. That's amazing. And really gets to the heart of their mission, to create a network of mutually supportive professionals. Okay, so let's talk more about the benefits of self-awareness.
Well, it's more than just introspection. It's a catalyst for personal and professional evolution. Think about enhanced leadership capabilities, increased personal productivity, career advancement. It all comes back to self-awareness.
It's almost like you're finally given that instruction manual you never knew you were missing, right? And by understanding your strengths, you can really leverage them in your interactions and knowing those areas where you might face challenges.
Well, you can actively develop those skills or collaborate with people whose strengths complement your own.
Right, like finding people who are good at the things you're not so good at.
Exactly. And it's not just about your internal world. It's also about recognizing how others perceive you.
That's so important.
That external feedback loop is invaluable.
Yeah.
It fosters empathy, makes your communication clearer, and helps you adapt in different situations.
And ultimately, it guides you towards a life that is more aligned with who you really are.
Yes, exactly. Your choices start to reflect your core values and your authentic self rather than being driven by external pressures.
So it's both looking inward and understanding your position in the broader world and how you interact with it.
And this leads us to some real advantages that come from self-understanding. Let's explore those benefits a bit.
Okay, let's dive in.
One significant advantage, especially in a professional setting, is enhanced intuition as a leader.
Oh, that's so interesting. Tell me more.
When you, as a leader, understand your own capabilities and limitations, you become much better at recognizing the talents within your team. You can intuitively sense who's best suited for certain roles and how to utilize their strengths to boost performance and achieve goals.
It's like you develop a finely tuned sense for people and situations. And this applies to personal life too, right? Not just professional.
Absolutely. It impacts communication in your relationships, helps you make sound decisions, boosts self-esteem, and leads to greater job satisfaction because you're pursuing a path that really resonates with you.
So you're more likely to be happy in your career if you actually understand yourself.
Exactly. And from a broader perspective, a lack of self-awareness can lead to negative outcomes. Disengaged individuals, misunderstandings, leaders making uninformed choices. On the flip side, those with self-awareness tend to be more optimistic, make sound decisions, and contribute positively.
So it's not just a personal benefit. It has the potential to create a positive ripple effect.
Exactly. Self-understanding fosters self-esteem and confidence, which strengthens the alignment between your career choices and your values. It all contributes to a more fulfilling and productive life.
It sounds like it can really have a huge impact.
And in leadership roles, self-awareness helps you identify the potential in others, navigate conflict better, and cultivate trust and credibility within your team, which leads to more efficiency, innovation, and authenticity in your work environment.
That's powerful stuff. It sounds like it can make a real difference in how you lead and how your team functions. And what about those blind spots we talked about earlier?
Ah, yes, that's another benefit. Self-awareness helps you recognize those blind spots, those areas where your perceptions might be a little off. It can be incredibly valuable in navigating your career and relationships, helping you avoid potential pitfalls.
It's like having an early warning system for your own biases. That's amazing. Okay, so how do we start to make sense of all the different personality types out there? It seems like there are so many.
Well, the Rutherford-INTEL system uses a really interesting framework. It's called the Core 12 Personalities, and they are organized into 4 distinct quadrants.
Okay, I like where this is going. 4 quadrants. So that means we have 12 personalities split into 4 groups. Tell me more.
Let's go through them. First, we have the Leadership Personality Quadrant.
This sounds interesting. What kind of personalities are in this one?
Within this quadrant, you have the opportunist, the holistic, and the result-driven.
Wow. Even the names give you a sense of their inclinations.
Exactly. These are the personality types often associated with strong leadership qualities. Next, we have the Intellectual Personality Quadrant.
Okay, so this one's all about the thinkers.
Yes, this quadrant includes the analytic, the imaginative, and the insightful types. They highlight different facets of intellectual capacity.
That makes sense. What's the next one?
The third quadrant is the Interpersonal Personality Quadrant.
I bet I can guess this one. It's about how people relate to one another, right?
Precisely. This one features the altruist, the social, and the individualist. It reflects the different ways people approach connection and relationships.
And the last quadrant.
Finally, we have the Productive Personality Quadrant, which includes the process-driven, the inventive, and the responsible types.
So this quadrant focuses on how individuals approach tasks and achieve outcomes.
Exactly.
So we have leadership, intellectual, interpersonal, and productive. 4 quadrants designed to capture the many different aspects of personality.
And the Rutherford-INTEL system isn't about putting people into rigid boxes. It's about appreciating the diversity of humanity, recognizing the traits that drive our achievements and acknowledging that our differences can also present challenges.
So it emphasizes the importance of understanding and collaboration to overcome those challenges.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that each person brings unique strengths and perspectives. Understanding these differences is incredibly powerful for our interactions and collaborations.
I love that. It's about celebrating what makes us unique while also finding ways to work together. Okay, I want to dive into one specific personality type, the imaginative personality, and talk about health and wellness for this profile.
This connects to a really interesting area, the relationship between mental health and creative expression. There's a famous quote from Aristotle, "No great genius has ever existed without a strain of madness."
Wow, so this idea has been around for centuries.
It has, and it reflects this idea of a link between creativity and emotional or psychological struggles.
It's like the classic tortured artist archetype.
Yeah.
But is there any truth to that?
Well, it's important to consider contrasting perspectives. Research by Albert Rothenberg, who studied Nobel laureates, found no direct correlation between creative achievement and mental illness.
So while some artists have had mental health challenges, it's not a prerequisite for creativity.
Exactly. And beyond mental well-being, we need to consider the physical demands and consequences of creative pursuits, especially for imaginative personalities.
This is something that often gets overlooked. Tell me more.
They have this amazing ability to get so absorbed in their work that they become less aware of their physical surroundings and their own needs, which can lead to physical issues. For example, some artists experience arthritis, joint pain, even respiratory problems due to inhaling solvents.
That makes sense. Their art becomes their entire world. And musicians, I imagine they have their own challenges too.
Yes, musicians face a higher risk of hearing loss because of the constant exposure to loud noises.
Of course. And there's data from surfplus.org that shows that a lot of artists are involved in physically demanding activities as part of their creative process, which can lead to things like chronic back pain.
Exactly. It highlights how demanding these creative pursuits can be on the body. It's a reminder that creativity isn't just an intellectual exercise, it's a full body experience.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And let's shift gears slightly to talk about communication, especially art as communication, from the perspective of the imaginative personality.
Art, in all its forms, is a powerful way to communicate, you know? It goes beyond cultural boundaries and connects us through emotions.
You're right, art has this amazing power to speak to everyone, regardless of their language or background. So how do imaginative personalities use art to communicate?
What's interesting is that their communication often takes on these nonverbal, unpredictable, even dreamlike forms. It might not follow a linear structure, and it might even seem chaotic or unstructured to someone observing it.
Right, like they're speaking a completely different language.
Exactly. It's the language of images, sounds, emotions, and it resonates on a deep level, and the audience plays a vital role in this communication.
The audience completes the circle. Without an audience to experience the art, it doesn't really fulfill its purpose.
Exactly. The artist transmits these thoughts and emotions to provoke a response from the audience, to shift their perspective, to evoke feelings.
And art can be a powerful tool for social change, right? Giving a voice to those who often go unheard.
Absolutely. So even though their communication might seem unconventional, the aim is often to express those intellectual and emotional concepts that go beyond words.
It's about expanding our understanding, sparking our imaginations, and challenging our existing viewpoints. And what about relationships with imaginative personalities? What makes those unique?
Well, they can be incredibly exciting, but also present some unique dynamics. Rilke once said, "For one human being to love another, that is perhaps the most difficult of all our tasks," you know? Which speaks to the fact that imaginative personalities are always evolving, always seeking novelty and creative exploration, which can be a challenge in relationships.
Right, it can be hard to balance that constant need for new experiences with the desire for consistency and commitment in a relationship.
But those who do form deep connections with imaginative personalities often describe the experience as deeply romantic, full of imagination, very energetic, and always changing. There's a sense of spontaneity and deep emotion.
And it's not all doom and gloom for their relationships, right? There are actually some encouraging statistics out there.
Yes, research actually suggests that artists have a similar rate of long-term marital success as the general population.
Wow, I would not have guessed that.
It challenges the stereotype that artists can't maintain stable relationships. So while there are unique characteristics and potential challenges, fulfilling, long-lasting love is definitely possible.
That's really good to hear. Okay, let's talk about something I'm really curious about. What about the dietary choices of imaginative personalities? I have to admit, I have some preconceived notions about this.
You know, it's interesting. You might assume that artists tend to be vegetarian, but an informal survey found that a large majority, around 78%, actually prefer to include meat in their diet.
That's surprising. So much for that stereotype.
Right. It turns the idea on its head. And there's a great anecdote from the artist Maria Kalman. She shared that after being vegetarian for a couple of years, she suddenly craved a hamburger. She talked about trying to follow Thomas Jefferson's suggestion to think of meat as a side dish.
That's funny. I love that story. So it's not just about what artists eat, but their overall relationship with food. How does food inspire them or even become part of their art?
Exactly. There have been exhibitions and projects that explore the connection between art and food, showing how food can fuel creativity and become part of the artistic process.
It's fascinating. It's like food becomes its own art form. It's another reminder that creativity can permeate every aspect of our lives.
Absolutely.
Okay, as we start to wrap up this deep dive, let's recap what we've learned.
Yes, let's do a quick summary.
We've talked about self-awareness as the foundation for personal and professional growth, the power of community in supporting that development, and the unique characteristics of the imaginative personality, specifically when it comes to their health, communication, relationships, and even their diet.
And we explored the RutherfordINTEL.io assessment as a valuable tool to unlock a deeper understanding of yourself.
It's all about gaining those insights into your personality so you can build meaningful connections and make informed choices in all areas of your life. And this is relevant for everyone, right? Not just artists or creative types.
Absolutely. And if you're in a relationship, understanding compatibility factors can be hugely beneficial for both partners.
It can really help strengthen the relationship, right?
Exactly. So we strongly encourage you to have your partner take the assessment as well. It could open up new possibilities for connection and understanding in your relationship.
That's a great idea. We'll be sure to include a link to the assessment in the show notes.
As you go about your day, we want to leave you with this final thought.
A little something to ponder.
Yes, think about how a deeper understanding of your personality, your strengths, tendencies, and your unique way of seeing the world could transform your life.
Not just your own life, but also your relationships with the people around you.
Yeah. Maybe reflect on a recent conversation or a decision you made and look at it through this new lens of self-awareness. What new insights emerge? What possibilities open up when you truly understand yourself?
It's definitely something to think about. And we'll continue to explore these ideas and more in future deep dives.
So be sure to join us again. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.